Welcome to our deep dive into In Praise of the Goddess. We are so excited to explore the origins and significance of the Hindu goddess with you today. We've got translated excerpts from the book itself, of course, but also a bunch of really fascinating historical context, even some philosophical discussions, which should be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's not just one goddess we are going to be looking at. It's like a whole family of them.
Right.
And their stories are really going to help us understand how Hindus view, the universe, our place within it, the whole thing.
Okay, so the book starts us off way, way back, even before the Indus Valley civilization. We are talking ancient cultures across Eurasia.
Wow.
Yeah, like Paleolithic and Neolithic periods, making these female figurines. It's amazing to think, they saw these figures as representing these powerful forces like fertility and motherhood.
And death, too. They understood this duality, this feminine, as both life-giving and sometimes, terrifying. It's a theme that really echoes throughout Hindu mythology, even today.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about how these ancient people understood, the power of the feminine, this force of creation and destruction. So then we move on to the Indus Valley civilization, the Harappan culture. Their script on the stone seals is still undeciphered, but it makes you wonder, could they have had a goddess-centric religion?
It's speculation, of course.
Yeah.
But if it's true, then we're talking about a goddess culture that predates even the Vedic period. And on some seals, there are these 7 identical female figures. Could these be the ancestors of the 7 little mothers we see in later Hindu mythology? I don't know. It really makes you think about how these ancient beliefs might have been passed down and transformed over time.
I see what you mean, like a trail of breadcrumbs leading us back through time. But then things change dramatically. We go from the Vedic period with its focus on, male deities like Indra to this concept of the Great Mother. What caused this shift?
Well, the Vedic period, it was all about maintaining cosmic order, through sacrifice and ritual. But then, according to the Vedic texts, there was this huge environmental catastrophe. The Saraswati River, their lifeline literally dried up. The landscape changed, their entire way of life. It's not hard to see how this upheaval might have pushed people towards a great mother figure, right? In the face of chaos, they might have sought solace and understanding from a force that represented creation and nurturing.
Makes total sense. A society facing these huge changes would need to find new sources of comfort, of meaning. And so the Hindu goddess appears, and not just as a powerful figure, but as the universe itself, right? And that brings us to the Devi Mahatmya, the heart of our deep dive.
Yeah. It's like a spiritual tapestry, woven from myth, philosophy, and just deep insights into the nature of reality. It's structured in 3 parts, each with these captivating stories that take us on this journey towards spiritual liberation.
I love that. The first part introduces this idea of Mahamaya, this goddess who creates the illusion of the material world.
Yeah.
Whoa, she's basically creating the fabric of our reality.
Exactly. And Mahamaya, she highlights the challenge we all face, right? This perception versus reality.
Yeah.
She's constantly reminding us that things are not always what they seem. Our senses, our limited understanding can, trick us. And here's the thing, she also holds the key to liberation. If we can recognize the illusion, see through this veil of Maya, we can break free from suffering and achieve this higher awareness.
That's deep. So she's both the problem and the solution, like a cosmic game where the prize is ultimate truth. But the Devi Mahatmya doesn't just talk about philosophy, it throws us right into these epic mythological battles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one that stands out is the story of Durga, the warrior goddess.
Yeah.
Slaying the buffalo demon, Mahishasura. But this isn't just a monster movie. Think of the buffalo as representing our primal instincts, our ego, and all those desires that trap us in suffering.
So Durga, with her determination and her, all those weapons she's got, she represents the power we all have within us to overcome these inner demons, those negative patterns and thoughts that hold us back.
Yes, and even as this fierce warrior, Durga shows immense compassion. In some versions, she even grants Mahishasura liberation after slaying him. This is huge. It suggests that even in, the most fearsome creatures, there's still this spark of divinity. It speaks to the Devi's ultimate goal, not just destruction, but the redemption and liberation of all beings.
Wow, that completely changes how I see that story. So we've got Mahamaya, the illusion weaver, Durga, the warrior, and then there's Kali. Her description alone, black face, red eyes, blood-stained mouth, is intense.
Yeah, Kali might be the most misunderstood of all the Hindu goddesses. Her appearance can be scary, for sure, but it's meant to symbolize this shattering of the ego, the breaking down of everything that separates us from the divine.
Yeah, in the Devi Mahatmya, she emerges from Ambika's forehead during a battle against this demon. Raktapija. His name means blood seed, and every drop of his blood creates another demon.
Yeah, he's basically impossible to defeat, right? And then Kali steps in and uses her, her insatiable hunger to devour Raktabija's blood before more demons can, spawn. It's a graphic image, I know, but it really symbolizes confronting and consuming our inner darkness. What do you think about that?
It's a powerful image. It really makes you think about the dark parts of ourselves, the ones we might try to ignore. But then Kali evolves into this symbol of the loving universal mother. That transition is fascinating to me.
It is, especially in Bengali Tantra and devotional poetry. She's depicted as this compassionate deity who fiercely protects her devotees. It shows how one single deity can encompass these, seemingly opposite qualities.
Right. It's like the Devi is showing us that there's room for all of these different aspects within the divine feminine. But the Devi Mahatmya doesn't stop there. We are thrown into another captivating story. Sumba and Nisumba, the demon brothers.
Yeah. Classic villains.
Yeah.
They, steal the god's wealth and take over their power, just causing chaos. But then they hear about the Devi's beauty and decide, well, they must have her as their bride.
Talk about arrogance. They try to woo her with, promises of luxury and power. Do they really think that's going to work?
Well, the Devi, as you might expect, is far too clever for them. She challenges them to a battle, stating that whoever defeats her can have her hand in marriage. Classic example of her strategic brilliance, using her strength to her advantage.
And of course, Sungfa and Nisumba, totally blinded by their pride and their desire, fall right into her trap. They send their armies to capture her, and that's where the real battle begins.
And what a battle it is. The Devi, with her, divine strength and all her fierce female warriors, the Matrikas, they absolutely crush the demon armies. Each victory symbolizes overcoming a specific obstacle on the path to spiritual liberation. So your thoughts about, as you read about these battles?
It's like each demon represents a different internal obstacle we need to overcome. It's almost like the Devi is, showing us how to conquer those challenges within ourselves.
Exactly. Sumha represents our ego, that sense of a-ness that fuels all of our desires. And then there's Nisumba, who represents our attachment to things, to material possessions, power, relationships, all the stuff that, binds us to suffering. So the Devi's fight against them is this, it's a metaphor for the inner struggles we all face.
And she wins. The Devi slays both brothers with her power and wisdom. It's such a powerful message of hope. This reminder that we can overcome any obstacle with spiritual strength and determination.
Oh, and don't forget about those 7 figures on the Harapan seals. They reappear here as the Matrikas, the 7 little mothers, the ones who fight alongside the Devis. Like these ancient beliefs about feminine power are woven into the Devi Mahatmya.
It's really amazing to see those connections to the past, how they inform and enrich our understanding of the present. But there's more to the Devi Mahatmya than mythology, right? There's also this discussion of mantra and the power of reciting the text itself.
Right. I mean, the Devi Mahatmya isn't just a story. It's also this powerful mantra. Reciting it, with the proper ritual and devotion can awaken the spiritual energy within. It's not just the words themselves, but the intention, the focus, the connection to the divine that we cultivate through, recitation.
What are your thoughts on this idea that a text is more than just words?
It's fascinating to think about how words can hold so much power, how they can be used to connect with something greater than ourselves, right? And the Devi Mahatmya shows us how to, tap into that power, how to channel the energy of the goddess through these, sacred verses.
We've covered a lot of ground, from those ancient figurines to powerful goddesses and epic battles. But the Devi Mahatmya isn't just about, these captivating stories. There's a whole philosophical layer we haven't really touched on yet.
You're right. And one of the most intriguing things about the Devi Mahatmya is how it presents the Devi as both the source of the material world, right, but also the path to liberation from it. Kind of paradoxical, isn't it?
It is. It's like she's holding the keys to both the prison and the escape route. So how do we find that escape route? What does the Devi Mahatmya tell us about, achieving liberation?
Well, it actually offers several approaches. One is through knowledge, understanding the nature of reality, the illusion of Maya, the play of the gunas. It's that path of jnana yoga, seeking wisdom and self-realization through, contemplation and study.
That makes sense. But it's not just about, meditating in a cave, right? The Devi Mahatmya also talks about action, right action, as being crucial for liberation.
Absolutely. The text really emphasizes that the Devi Mak favors those who uphold Dharma, those who act with virtue and integrity in the world. It's about aligning our actions with a higher purpose. Right, using our will to combat, negativity and promote good. This is the path of karma yoga, seeking liberation through selfless action and service.
So there's knowledge, there's action, but what about devotion? I mean, the text is full of hymns and expressions of deep, deep devotion to the Devi.
You've hit on another key aspect. The Devi Mahatmya strongly emphasizes the path of bhakti yoga, the pursuit of liberation through, love and surrender to the divine, cultivating this deep personal connection with the Devi, offering our love, our reverence. This can help us transcend our limited selves and potentially merge with the infinite. It's like, really opening yourself up to a higher power. Have you ever felt that kind of connection in your own life?
I think we all have those moments where we feel connected to something larger than ourselves, whether it's through nature or art or even just, human connection. It's a powerful feeling. So it's not about choosing one path over another. It's about weaving them together.
Exactly. It's a tapestry of knowledge, action, and devotion. And each thread is important. The Devi Mahatmya seems to suggest that no matter who you are or what you are, drawn to, there's a way for you to connect with the divine and realize your true potential.
That's a very inclusive message, but there's one concept I'm still kind of struggling with. The Devi is presented as the source of both good and evil. How can that be?
Yeah, it's a challenging idea, one that's fascinated and puzzled people for, ages. The Devi Mahatmya doesn't shy away from it, though. It embraces the paradox.
Yeah.
It says that the Devi is the ultimate reality, the source of everything, both seen and unseen. And within that totality, both light and darkness exist, good and evil.
So the text is saying these dualities are inherent to existence itself, that they both have a role to play in this, cosmic dance.
That's one way to look at it. The Devi Mahatmya seems to imply that these opposites define each other. We wouldn't recognize light without darkness. Without evil, good wouldn't have the same, meaning. And the Devi, as the source of it all, encompasses and transcends those dualities.
It's a real mind-bending concept, but in a way it's also liberating, right? It's saying we don't need to judge or resist these parts of reality. We can simply accept them as part of, the whole.
Right. And ultimately, the goal is to move beyond that duality altogether, to realize the underlying unity that connects everything, to see the Devi's presence in everything, even the things we might perceive as negative or undesirable.
It's a real shift in perspective, but let's go back to the text itself for a moment. The Devi Mahatmya really emphasizes ritual, the importance of reciting it in a specific way with the right preparation, the right intention. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, that's where we enter the world of Tantra, this complex spiritual tradition that's really closely tied to the Devi Mahatmya. Tantra sees the universe as a manifestation of divine energy, and ritual is a way to access and work with that energy.
So it's not just about saying words, it's about harnessing power, awakening energy within ourselves and, the world.
Exactly. The Devi Mahatmya itself is considered a powerful mantra, a collection of sounds that, when properly invoked, can unleash this incredible spiritual energy. And the text is very clear about the importance of, ritual purity, focus, devotional intention. It even warns about reciting it improperly, saying it could lead to, negative consequences.
So it's a reminder that these aren't just words on a page. There's a power to them, a connection to something beyond our everyday understanding.
Right. The Devi Mahatmya is like a, guidebook. It's showing us how to navigate this potent spiritual landscape, how to tap into the transformative power of the goddess.
I can see why this text has resonated with people for so long. It's more than just a story. It's a practice, a way of life, but it's also part of this larger body of work, right? What about these ancillary texts, the Angas, traditionally linked to the Devi Mahatmya?
Yeah, the Angas are like extensions. They add these layers of ritual, symbolism, and philosophical insights. They include hymns of praise, protective mantras, and even detailed instructions for, worshiping the Devi in all her different forms. It's a rich and complex tradition.
It's like a whole toolbox for the spiritual seeker. The Rahasya trilogy, which explores the mysteries of creation and the Devi's role in it, that really caught my attention. What can you tell us about those texts?
Oh, the Rahasas are fascinating. They offer all these different perspectives on how the becomes manifest, how the Devi as this primordial energy gives birth to the universe and all of its forms.
And they don't shy away from the details. There's a section describing the cosmic egg, the birth of Brahma, the interplay of the gunas. It's like a crash course in Hindu cosmology.
And what's great is that they don't just present these dry concepts. They weave these ideas into captivating stories. They use vivid imagery, symbolism to make it all, come alive. It's like they understood that stories are how we learn best, how our minds are wired to connect with narratives.
That makes a lot of sense. We're storytelling creatures. So the Rahasyas kind of explain the what of creation, but do they explore the why? Why does the Devi create? What's her purpose?
Well, one of the Rahasyas suggests that she creates out of pure joy, out of this overflowing abundance of love and energy. It's as if she can't contain herself. She has to express herself, manifest her infinite potential in the form of this this vast and wondrous universe.
That's such a beautiful idea. So it's not about a grand plan or a mission. It's about pure creative expression, the sheer joy of being.
It's a pretty compelling interpretation, isn't it? It suggests that creation itself is this celebration, this divine act of playfulness. And as part of that creation, we're invited to share in that joy, to embrace the wonder and beauty of existence. What do you make of that idea?
I love it. It takes the pressure off. It's not about figuring everything out. It's about enjoying the ride.
Exactly. The Devi Mahatmya and all these related texts, they offer us tools, stories, and practices to help us on that journey.
So for us, the modern day knowledge seekers, what does all of this mean? How do we apply these ancient teachings to our lives?
That's the question, isn't it? And ultimately, each individual has to find their own answer. But one key takeaway from the Devi Mahatmya is this power of the feminine within each of us. Whether you identify as male or female, you have this potential for creation, transformation, and liberation.
It's like saying that we all carry a spark of the Devi within us, waiting to be awakened and expressed. And the Devi Mahatmya shows us the way.
Precisely.
It encourages us to embrace our own strength, wisdom, and capacity for love and compassion. It challenges us to face our inner demons, overcome our limitations, and fulfill our potential as divine beings.
And it reminds us that we're not alone on this journey. We have the Devi in all her forms as our, guide and protector, and we have each other as fellow travelers on this incredible cosmic adventure. We've explored the mythology, the philosophy, but there's this one question that keeps coming back to me. If the Devi is this, all-encompassing force, the source of everything, how can we actually sense her presence in our everyday lives? I mean, it's easy to get lost in those huge stories, but how does it, translate to the here and now?
Yeah, that's the core of it, isn't it? And the Devi Mahatmya, in its own subtle way, is pushing us to consider this, right? But it doesn't give you a simple answer. There's no step-by-step guide to experiencing the Devi. It just gives us this framework, principles, practices that can open us up to that possibility. So it's not about finding the Devi somewhere out there. It's more about recognizing her presence within us and the world around us, almost like she's already here, if we could just perceive her.
Exactly. It's a shift in perspective, right? Cultivating this awareness that allows us to see the divine in everything. The Devi Mahatmya reminds us that the Devi is the fabric of reality, the source of creation itself. She's not separate from the world. She's woven into its essence.
That's such a beautiful thought, but how do we actually do that? How do we cultivate that kind of awareness? It seems, daunting.
Well, the text offers some clues. One path is through mindfulness, paying attention to the present moment, to the sights, the sounds, the sensations of our, everyday experience. It's about slowing down, quieting the mind, and truly tuning into the world around us.
So it's not about having this huge mystical experience. It's about finding the sacred in the, ordinary, in those little details of life that we often, overlook.
Precisely. It's about recognizing the Devi's presence in the beauty of a flower, the raw power of a storm, the love we feel for our family and friends. It's about seeing how everything's interconnected, how everything is ultimately a manifestation of this, this divine energy.
I think I'm starting to understand. It's like spirituality isn't separate from our lives. It's woven into every moment if we just, open ourselves up to it. But the Devi Mahatmya also talks a lot about action, right? How does that fit into this idea of experiencing the Devi?
The text encourages us to act with intention, to align our actions with Dharma, with a higher purpose, right? It's recognizing that every action, even the smallest one, can create these ripples in the world around us. When we act with awareness, compassion, and a sense of service to others, we become instruments of the Devi's will, agents of, positive change. Does that resonate with you at all?
It does. It's this reminder that we have the power to make a difference, that our actions matter. It's not just about what we do, but the intention behind it.
Exactly. The Devi Mahatmya tells us that the Devi favors those who, uphold Dharma, who act with virtue and integrity. By embodying those qualities, we become more aligned with her energy, more receptive to her guidance.
It's like saying that by living a life of purpose, guided by compassion and service, we can become, more like the Devi ourselves, embody her power and grace in the world.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. And it emphasizes that experiencing the Devi's presence isn't just about, passive contemplation or mystical states. It's about engaging with the world, using our gifts and talents to make a, positive impact.
It's this continuous journey, this process of, growth and transformation. And the Devi Mahatmya is like this map, giving us the principles and practices to guide us along the way. But it's ultimately up to each of us to find our own path, to discover how the Devi's presence, manifests in our own lives.
And that's what makes it so beautiful, right? There's no one right way to, experience the divine. The Devi Mahatmya offers a framework, possibilities, but it leaves the door open for us to explore, discover, to create our own, our own unique relationship with the goddess.
Sounds like a lifelong exploration. This has been such an incredible deep dive into the Devi Mahatmya. I know I'm walking away with so much to think about. Thank you so much for, sharing your expertise with us.
It's been my pleasure. And to everyone listening, I really encourage you to reflect on what we've discussed today and to see, how you might connect with the Devi in your own life.
Yeah, and to all our listeners, may the Devi's blessings be with you on your journey.